Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the town of Three Rivers to order. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epuwik, Prince Edward Island, Mi'kmaqi, is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Before we begin, I would like to note that the meeting is being officially recorded by the town of Three Rivers. Unauthorized recording, photographing, or broadcasting of these proceedings is not permitted without the consent of council or the CAO. We thank you for your respect and participation. Next is the approval of our agenda. So moved. I need a seconder. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Agenda is approved as presented. Third is our disclosure of conflict of interest. Is anybody in conflict of interest on anything that is on our agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to 4, which is the adoption of the March 9th, 2026 regular council meetings, and the motion is that the minutes be adopted as presented. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Spin, second by Councillor McLean. Give you a minute to have a look over those. They're on page 3 of your package. Okay. All in favor? Okay. Motion is carried. And next we have the RCMP report. So, welcome. Thank you. I can. There, you're on now.
Working now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Evening.
It looks a little bit different this time. The normal 3 people that contribute to this, none of them are around, so 2 of us did our best. Anyway, for community policing, in March, King's RCMP provincial units and the emergency response team from New Brunswick executed multiple search warrants in both Kings and Queens counties, resulting in several individuals being arrested for firearms and drug offenses. In Greenfield, King's RCMP investigated a road rage incident where an individual was assaulted with a baseball bat. This has led to multiple arrests and charges being laid. RCMP members responded to a report of a house fire in Elmira, where it was reported that someone was trapped, and this turned out to be completely unfounded. RCMP also responded to a call in Murray River advising a young person was going to jump off the Vernon River Bridge. Members were able to de-escalate the situation and work with partnering agencies to get this person the appropriate treatment. Members were dispatched to what appeared to be a serious crime in Montague, which then turned into a missing person investigation over the next 2 days, which then led to an arrest and apprehension of the same individual who was reported to have been seriously assaulted. RCMP investigated a suspicious house fire in Glen William, which led to a seizure of multiple illegal firearms, partnering with several agencies, including the Office of the Fire Commissioner and Firearms Office. RCMP members were dispatched to a call in Montague regarding an individual holding what appeared to be a firearm and making threatening comments to another person online. This photo turned out to be had been altered using AI. However, the individual was charged with related offenses and has an upcoming court appearance. In the selective traffic enforcement program, check stops were done by King's members in Surrey, Peaks, Victoria, Lake Verde, Victoria Cross, Glen William, Elliott Vale, Auburn, where over 225 vehicles were checked and summary offense tickets and warnings were issued. I'll also note a little bit lower, the provincial traffic unit also conducted 17 dedicated patrols in Three Rivers, as well as 9 in Surrey. We'll go back to an occurrence summary here. Persons crimes remain consistent both February and last March, ending the month with 21 occurrences compared with 26 for last month and 22 for the previous year. Indecent and harassing communications incidents were reported most frequently with 7, followed by assault at 6 and uttering threats at 4. At 32, property crime levels were comparable with last month at 26 and lower than last March at 44. Last March at 44. There were 16 mischief, 6 fraud, and 4 theft under 5,000 incidents reported to us. There was 1 drug enforcement occurrence opened in March. It's just consistent with last month and last year, 2 and 1 respectively, and it's still under investigation. Traffic occurrences accounted for most of the incidents recorded in March with 142 incidents. This is the same level as last month and marginally lower than last year at 152. 5 impaired driving occurrences were reported, 4 by alcohol and 1 by drug, and of those 4 were resulted in charges or charges recommended. There were 20 collisions reported, none of which involved fatalities, and as we said before, 7 check stops were documented. Overall, 321 occurrences were recorded, with 315 of these being founded or still under investigation. This is consistent with last month at 358, of which 348 were founded or still under investigation, and last year where 355 were recorded. The month is lower than the 12-month average, which is usually 412 occurrences, with 396 being founded or still under investigation. There's some traffic stats with the tickets and warnings noted in the last 2 pages. Operating vehicle with invalid inspection sticker is high, and speeding under 29 kilometers an hour, and also driving with the registration expired is our pretty common ones. Yeah, that's it.
Sounds like you had a pretty interesting month and busy.
Yeah.
Does the council have any questions for the? Okay, Councillor Spin?
Yeah, it looks like we're really busy, so I guess that's a good thing. If somebody has no registration or no license, do you tow the car right there?
Nope. If the car is insured and maybe something happened to the registration, it can be let go. It's officer discretion a lot of the time.
Okay.
If it's a repeat offense,
You're going.
probably going to be towed.
Yeah. But so if a fellow had no registration period, you're saying he could actually drive home with it, or?
Again, it's pretty situational dependent. Probably not. Maybe we'll let you go somewheres where we know you can get it registered. Or if you have no plan to do that, you're probably going to be towed.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Councillor McFarland?
The charge with the altering of the picture with the AI, what would that charge be, and how severe is that? Because that's like,
So
AI is going to be a problem in that respect. It's
Absolutely.
a great tool, but
Yep.
yeah.
like a lot of things, it was probably meant with the best intentions and then used for wrong things. This one in particular, the charge was still the uttering threats and use. That's an aggravating factor to have a gun in your hand. If you're not pointing it, there's no real offense. Do you have an actual firearms license? Are you allowed to have that gun? None of that counts with AI because it's an altered picture. However, the threatening, using that as a threat, still counts and will be considered an aggravating factor.
Even though it's fictitious. But, so the actual, is there an actual charge of altering, like for fraud? Is there altering a picture for the purpose of fraud?
There are, but not in this case.
Not in this case, okay.
Fraud would be a monetary thing, whereas a firearm used, it's still threatening. You've sent it to that individual with the understanding of this is a threat or whatever the conversation was as a result of that. In this case, it met the grounds for someone uttering threat against a person.
So it was the threat of firearms that was the severe part of this, not the altering of, to make it look good. Okay.
Because the law hasn't quite caught up with AI and whatnot, and there is no specific charge for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your
welcome.
report. Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, next is, we're on number 6, presentations, delegations. Tonight we have no registered speakers, so we'll move.
How could it be when the agenda wasn't posted until after the deadline on Friday? How could anybody have possibly asked to speak?
I think you could have put it in before that. I think you could have asked to speak before that. Was the agenda not out? It was only half an hour late as far as I know.
It was past the deadline, it was past 3 PM. Yep.
Well, you could have asked to speak beforehand.
How do I know if I want to speak to an agenda item or not?
Did you want to speak?
No.
You're welcome to speak now if the agenda was half an hour.
Until after the closed session, I think.
Pardon?
It's all good, go ahead.
Well, this is the only time, if you want to speak,
I'm
this.
not allowed to speak until after the closed session. That's okay. Continue, it's fine.
This is the only time that we,
Continue, it's okay.
well, this is the only, I just want to point out to you that this is the only time we have for speakers. So
I understand that,
if you want to speak, this is the time.
I understand that.
Okay. Okay, the next is the mayor's report. March has been an active community-based, community-focused month. And as winter activities begin to wind down, our facilities, organizations, and volunteers continue to demonstrate the dedication and spirit that makes our community such a vibrant place to live. I want to extend my appreciation to everyone who contributes their time, energy, enthusiasm to local events and programs. I saw this when I attended some hockey games at the Cavendish Farms Wellness Center. It was great to see huge crowds at the Montague Stallions game. And I noticed that it was a great place for a lot of the youth who were interested, so it was absolutely great to see that many of those people in our community that age that were really interested and had some place to go on a Friday or a Saturday night. And the stands were filled as well with adults. They also hosted all the rinks hosted some provincials, and I did go over to see the 2026 under 15 AA provincials, which had, I was surprised at the turnout to see those games. And it was a pleasure watching the games and seeing them actually win the tournament. I was pleased to bring congratulations to the graduates of the latest Career Bridges program on March 26. 9 individuals completed the 12-month program, which supports participants exploring career changes or further training. It's always rewarding to see these graduates gain confidence, new skills, and often employment within our community. I think the measure of the program is very well seen when I go out to different businesses, and these people are working there after going through that program. So I thank Heather for inviting me to all of those graduations, and it's a great program. Three Rivers is fortunate to have several church groups that provide community meals, and I want to acknowledge the important service they offer. This month I attended the Hillcrest United Church luncheon where approximately 80 people enjoyed a delicious meal and warm conversation. These gatherings play a meaningful role in fostering connection and supporting residents. On March 26, I also attended the monthly meeting of the Federation of Municipalities. Agenda items there include approval of the annual budget, discussion on shared planning services, which has been requested by several smaller communities, a presentation from Gordon McIntosh regarding the ongoing FPEIM governance review. These conversations help ensure the municipalities across the province continue to collaborate effectively and plan for the future. As mayor, I meet regularly with staff, government departments, and residents on a wide range of issues impacting Three Rivers. And you can always reach out to me if by phone or email if you'd like to discuss something. Okay. Next, we'll move on to the CAO's report. I'll pass it off to John.
Thanks, Your Worship. There are 3 or 4 items I'd like to address. First one is the release of a code of conduct complainant. The town of Three Rivers recently received information from Municipal Affairs that was subsequently determined to be incorrect with respect to the release of information related to a code of conduct complaints. As a result, the name of an individual who filed the complaint was disclosed to the media and public. Upon further review, it was confirmed that the disclosure of a complainant's name does not fall within the permitted circumstances outlined in Section 17 of the town's Access to Information and Protection of Personal Information bylaw. Going forward, the town will not release the names of complainants under any circumstances unless such disclosure is clearly authorized under Section 17 of the Town of Three Rivers Access to Information and Protection of Personal Information bylaw. The town will strictly adhere to the requirements of the bylaw on all future matters involving the collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. On code of conduct complaints, we've received the final reports on 2 of the complaints. They've been shared with the respondents and the complainants and myself, and will be discussed in the closed session tonight. And then any resolutions that will come out of that will be during the open session afterwards. Pleased to report that last month council approved the operating and capital budget. Following approval, our budget has been submitted to the Department of Municipal Affairs and is available for viewing on our website. On human resources, we want to offer congratulations to Rachel Llewellyn, who is an accounting clerk with the town. She accepted a new position with the Montague Housing Authority, and we're happy to see her continuing her public service work in the community. Rachel was a fantastic employee, and we wish her all the success in her new role. But we had a very competitive process to fill the position, and I'm pleased to announce that Lauren McPherson, who actually began work with the town today, she joins Three Rivers after working with the Financial Services Division at Holland College. She has great experience in financial administration and support, and we look forward to welcoming Lauren to the team. As you'll see in your package and discussed at the COC, there are some changes to the job descriptions for some seasonal employees. One event that we participated in as a staff was an emergency planning tabletop exercise that was facilitated by our EMO coordinator. We went through a mock emergency scenario based on a significant ice storm, which resulted in extended power outages. It was a great session, and it provided staff with the opportunity to walk through our emergency response, assess our operational readiness, and practice coordinated decision-making. And it's a great way to help hone our skills to respond to a need. One thing that I have in the agenda later on is a request to approve an application to the Rural Growth Initiative to include upgrades to the Georgetown and Cardigan pickleball courts. We're seeing a great growth in that, interest in that. The project costs are to asphalt ceiling, epoxy coating, and line painting for the Georgetown court, wind screens for both Cardigan and Georgetown, fencing and gates for Cardigan. And you see the amounts in the package. We also, in the application that we would submit, is $30,000 in funding assistance for the museum's accessible washroom and deck project. And again, all we're asking council for is approval later on to be able to submit those applications. That's all I have, Your Worship, if there's any questions.
Any questions for the CAO on this report? Okay. On next is 7.3 on page 25, and it's the development permit report from March 1st to March 31st. It's as written in your package, and there's substantial number of building permits issued or development permits issued there. And I just want to make note that 10 of them were for single-family dwellings, which is very encouraging. It's great to see single-family dwellings in all our areas of Three Rivers. Anybody have any questions on that report? For Lee is here and can take them. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to 7.4, which is the development permit report for March 2026 and IRAC appeal summary, and I believe Lee is going to speak to that.
Thank you, Worship. I did do a verbatim update for Planning Board to receive the good news of the dismissal of the appeal. I'll do a briefer one for yourselves tonight, so I won't take up too much time. So as you know, the appeal arose from our decision to issue a development permit for the dormitories and associated site works at the Great Wisdom Buddhist Institute. And the appellant Charlie Hicken challenged that on a range of planning, environmental, and procedural grounds. The appeal was filed on March the 20th, 2025, and as part of IRAC's procedures, there was an added party intervener application where an additional party asked to be part of that process. So it was alleged that the dormitories were not a permitted use. The development raised environmental concerns, groundwater impacts, the need for an EIA. Interest groups weren't consulted, concerns weren't addressed in meetings, and of course the negative impact of the development. One of the big things for the commission is to see through their processes. Is there a valid appeal to be made, and is the appellant an aggrieved person under the new, more stringent terms of the Act? They're using those terms in a lot of appeals that we're reading right now, and they're making that examination to see at the outset, is there a valid appeal to be made, and is this an aggrieved person? So they do look at that in quite some detail now, and we've seen that in many decisions, including this one. So really, kind of summarizing the commission's commentary on it, it's that the appellant resided a significant distance from the site, about 16 kilometers away. That limited any reasonable inference of a direct impact on him. Claims regarding groundwater contamination, soil, environment was unsupported by objective evidence. It wasn't simple enough to claim it. You have to demonstrate it. The commission actually noted that the appellant's property was such a distance away from the subject property that the commission cannot even reasonably infer those adverse effects. Broad concerns about housing affordability, infrastructure, taxpayer impacts, and many others didn't satisfy the definition of an aggrieved person. Also, one of the more important things that we're seeing coming out, and did come out on a previously dismissed appeal for Blair Sorey, was that matters related to environmental assessment are outside the Commission's jurisdiction. So if it's a matters of EIA and environmental impacts, that's not within their remit under the Act to look at. And again, that's being referred to in this as well as that previous appeal. Now, one thing I did want to sort of note to yourself, your worship and councillors, is that we talk about the costs to defend the appeals. And we are aware of the financial cost. We are aware that lawyers are expensive. We are aware that there's time involved. Now, between issuing the permit and the dismissal of this appeal was 11 and a half months. We're nearly looking at a calendar year where there's immense uncertainty with regard to will the development go ahead. It did in this case, and that is a risk for the appellant to take, but it could have gone the other way had the appeal been found to be valid. And that brings uncertainty to all development, that you're looking at a very long time scale for this to happen. Now, thankfully, this was dismissed. We're really pleased with that. Our appeal record remains impeccable, and unfortunately, on 6th of April, Mr. Hickens appealed the Jeebus Visitor Center site. So we're currently going through the initial submissions for that, and of course putting together the best case forward to defend and deal with that as well. So I will give updates as and when we have to give those. And at some point, hopefully we'll have a decision, hopefully sooner rather than later on this particular one. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And all this information is on the IRAC, published on the IRAC site as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. The initial filing of the appeal and the grounds are all publicly available now.
Okay, we'll move on to 7.5.1. And I'll turn that over to Planning, Ann.
Okay, so we have 3 recommendations from Planning Board. The first one is, Planning Board recommends to Council to approve the following motion: the citing of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 543637, St. Andrews Point Road. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 1st, 2026 to September 29th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site, but may be renewed by Council. Condition 2, sewage and grey water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system and pumped from holding tanks and disposed of properly. 3, the plans, the application form, site plan, site photos received February 25th, 2026.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation.
Need a move? Yeah.
So moved. Mover?
Yep.
Moved by Ann, second by, okay, Martina. Discussion on the application?
I have a question.
Okay,
There seems to be a line in here, but may be renewed by council. I don't quite, what would we renew, like, or what would be the purpose of that?
Can we direct that to planning staff to answer?
yeah, sure.
Thank you, Worship. Councillor, it's an amendment to the original recommendations which were made by staff. Normally, we don't put things that we would do as generic advisory notes. We do a cover letter with all permits. They have a range of advice in there with regards to the appeal dates, and they can be bespoke depending on the type of permit we're issuing. This was added by one of the planning board members. Staff recommended against this because conditions are a condition of receiving the permit. They're not instructions on what to do in the future with regard to general administration. That can muddy the waters. Also, it should be noted that conditions can be appealed. And if unusual things start working their way into the conditions of a permit, then that can put us on unsteady ground, because obviously the report won't reflect any of that commentary. Now, I understand the intention behind it. It's just to advise that, yes, you have to go back through process to have these renewed, and it sort of deflects from the fact that these are very much temporary permits. They're only 120 days. They're for a very specific use, and that you have to go through full process again if you want them renewed. And it may be that we have to take a different view on that second time around on a recommendation, because they're not a substitute for permanent housing. It's purely for recreational use. So we did recommend against it. And obviously, Councillor, you've highlighted, Deputy Mayor Jenkins has highlighted the fact it's there, because you've seen so many of these, and this is a new addition, so it probably did look unusual.
Okay, Cody, does that clear up the matter?
Yeah, thanks. I don't see this as part of our purview. Council review this. I think if they want to look at extending the 120 days, that it should be resubmitted to the planning department, and then they can determine the best course of action to handle it. So I have two, I guess, questions on how to maybe move this forward. Either we defeat the motion and reword it as we always have, or can I just amend the motion and remove that wording? What's the better?
You would have to defeat that motion.
Well, why don't we,
Defeat it?
yeah, let's defeat, yeah, we probably should defeat it, and then now you could introduce a new motion.
That's on the table
Yeah,
now, so.
okay. Okay,
So is that we defeat this motion and we'll make a new motion following our policy and procedure as we always have.
okay. All in favor? Contrary?
Nay.
Okay, motion is defeated.
So I'll make a new motion, 7.5.1, be it resolved that the sitting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 543637 St. Andrews Point Road be approved, subjected to the following conditions. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 1st, 2026 to September 29th, 2026, after which the time the recreational vehicle must be removed from site. Condition 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped from the holding tanks and disposed of properly. Condition 3, plans condition, application form, site plan, site photos received February 25th, 2026.
Okay, moved by Counselor Monroe, second by Counselor McFarland. Okay, discussion on the new motion?
Yeah, it's not so much to the motion, it's just to these permits coming to council and planning board. It's absolutely foolish that this can't be done at desk level for 120 days for somebody's travel trailer. That's, so just like to point that out.
Yes, yep, that's a good point, Counselor Monroe.
And when our bylaw amendments are passed, this won't come to council. It'll be done at desk level.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor of the new motion?
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I didn't ask, okay, so we have one opposed to that motion. Sorry, Ann. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you would like to continue to 7.5.2?
Okay. Okay. So our second similar application. Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion: the sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days and clearing land on PID 906396 Sandspit Lane. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 1st, 2026 to September 29th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site, but may be renewed by council. Condition 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped from the holding tank and disposed of properly. Condition 3, the application form received February 27th, 2026, and the site plan received March 5th, 2026. So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilor Van Donkerswood, second by, okay. And,
I have the same recommendation
Okay.
for this motion.
okay. So, all in favor of this motion? Okay, and the nays? Okay. Okay, motion is defeated.
New motion for 7.5.2. Be it resolved that the sitting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days and clearing land on PID 906396 Sandspit Lane be approved, subjected to the following conditions. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 1st, 2026 to September 29th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from site. Condition 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped from the holding tank and disposed of properly. Condition 3, plans condition. Application form received February 27th, 2026. Site plan received March 5th, 2026.
Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor Spin. Discussion on that motion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay. We have Ann opposed to that. Okay. Okay, motion is carried. Okay, 7.5.3.
Okay. Third application. Sorry. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommend to council to approve the following motion: the sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days and clearing land on PID 1056191 McClure Pond Road. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 1st, 2026 to September 29th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from site but may be renewed by council. 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped from holding tanks and disposed of properly. 3, the plans condition, the application form and site plan received March 10th, 2026. So moved.
Moved by Councilman Donkersgood, second by Councilor McFarland. Discussion? Same comments? Okay, all in favor? Okay, so the motion is, okay, you're voting for it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so, but the motion is defeated. Okay,
New motion for 7.5.13, or 7.5.3, sorry. Be it resolved, the sitting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days and clearing land on PID 1056191 McClure Pond Road was to be approved, subject to the following conditions. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 1st, 2026 to September 29th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from site. Condition 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an improved septic system or pumped from the holding tanks and disposed of properly. Condition 3, plans condition, application form and site plan received March 10th, 2026.
okay, so moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor McLean. Discussion on that motion? Okay, all in favor? Contrary? Okay. You got that vote? Okay, motion is carried. Okay, next we'll move into our 7.6, which is our financial report, and it's included in your package on page 113. Okay, if you have, maybe Don can just give us a quick overview of the financial report.
Thank you, Your Worship. This report is for month ending February 28th, which is the 11th month of the fiscal year, 2026 fiscal year. We're heading into our 12th month with, we have surpassed our budget revenues by $318,223. And we're under budget on our expenses by $321,661, which leaves us with an operating surplus of $517,238. That let us invest in some capital purchases, and after that and our principal loan payments, we're left with a cash flow surplus of $11,994.
Okay, thank you, Don. Any questions on the financial report for Don? Yeah, okay. Just hope, it's always good to see that report and good news from Don. Okay, so we're going to move on to requests for decisions from our Committee of Council meeting. The first one is 8.1, and it's RFD 26-09, appointment of a municipal electoral officer and deputy MEO. And the motion is to appoint Tim Garrity as Three Rivers Municipal Electoral Officer and Stephanie Thorpe as Deputy Municipal Electoral Officer. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor McFarland. Any discussion on the motion?
Question?
Go ahead, Wayne.
Where did his name come out of? Do we find him, or?
I think, no, I don't think so. I'll let the CAO.
We have an agreement with Elections PEI to manage our election in the fall.
Yes, I know that, but I'm saying is,
Tim is the CEO of Elections PEI and Stephanie is the deputy. And we're required to name them as our municipal electoral officer.
So they-
and deputy.
they actually sent us a
Elections
name?
PEI requested that we make this move along with municipal affairs.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion's carried. And our 8.2 is amendment to Schedule A, the municipal fees bylaw. And the motion is to waive the ADU fee currently charged at $100 to an amendment to Schedule A of the municipal fees schedule bylaw as drafted. moved by Councillor Van Dunkersgood, second by Councillor McDonald. Discussion on the motion? No discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Next, we are at the job descriptions, I think it is, RFD 26-11. And there's job description updates. There's a total of 5 draft job description updates included in your package. And the motion is to approve the revised job descriptions for Splash Pad Park Attendant, Cavendish Wellness Center Seasonal Cleaner and General Maintenance, Seasonal Sport Field Technician, Public Works, Seasonal Gardener and Public Works, Seasonal Day Docks, and Welcome Center Attendant. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Jenkins and second by Councillor Spin. Discussion on those job descriptions. I think they're all included in your package as well. Go ahead, Councillor McFarland.
That'll make things clearer for everybody around.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely help. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Okay, the Rural Growth Initiative. So do you need to,
I think I explained it.
yeah, okay. I think John has gone through this, so the motion is, be it resolved that council approve the submission of an application to the Rural Growth Initiative for $32,043.25 plus HST for funding assistance to complete upgrades to the Georgetown and Cardigan pickleball courts, including windscreens, fencing gates, asphalt ceiling, epoxy coating, and line painting, and further approve the inclusion of $30,000 in funding assistance for the museum accessibility washroom and deck project as part of the same application. Moved by Councillor McFarland, second by Councillor McLean. Discussion on that. Just to make it clear, that's just for the approval to do the application. Okay? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion's carried. Okay, I believe we are at the closed session of our meeting. As per section 1191G of the MGA, I'll have a motion to move into the closed session. Moved by Ann and seconded by Alan. Okay, so at this time we're moving into a closed session, so I will have to ask.
We can open that other.
Yeah, we'll open the other in there. We'll open the office in there. McLean back. Okay, I need a motion to open the meeting back up, so moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor McLean. And at this time, I'm going to pass the chair over to Deputy Mayor Jenkins.
Hello.
You want to move?
No, I can do it from here, I think. Yep. Council has completed its confidential review of the independent investigator's report in accordance with section 19.41, the town's code of conduct bylaw. Council will proceed with the required public resolutions. Be it resolved, the council, having reviewed the independent investigator's report, find that Mayor Debbie Johnson did not breach the Town of Three Rivers Code of Conduct bylaw in relation to the complaint filed by a resident, and that the complaint against the mayor is hereby dismissed. Moved by Councilor Monroe,
Second.
second by Councilor McLean. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Be it resolved, the council, having reviewed the independent investigator's report, finds that Councillor Martina McDonald did breach section 9.7E of the Town of Three Rivers Code of Conduct bylaw in relation to the August 18th, 2025 interaction referenced in the complaint. We have a mover. Moved by Councilor Monroe,
Second.
second by Councilor McLean. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Because the investigators recommend us focus heavily on meeting decorum and communication improvements, we offer the following motion. Be it resolved, the council directs the CEO to move forward with developing and putting in place stronger council meeting decorum and respectful public engagement practices, including complete review of the municipal best practice relations to meeting conduct, the authority of the chair, and public participation. Bring forward proposed amendments to the Town of Three Rivers procurement procedural bylaw to strengthen meeting decorum, expectations for respectful conduct for residents and council, and the authority of the chair. Establish a consistent approach for the CAO, issue public updates on behalf of the council between meetings when timely communication is needed and in the public interest. Arrange a council governance workshop focused on meeting, chairing, de-escalation, and respectful public engagement best practices. Bring recommendations to council for review and approval. We have a mover. Moved by Councilor Monroe. Second by Councilor Van Donkersgoed. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Council has completed its confidential review of the second independent investigator's report in accordance with section 9.4 of the town's code of conduct bylaw and will now proceed with the required public resolutions. Be it resolved, the council, having reviewed the independent investigator's report, finds that Mayor Debbie Johnson did breach section 9.7E of the Town of Three Rivers Code of Conduct bylaw in relation to August 11th, 2025 council meeting by failing to intervene and de-escalate the interaction. The mover. Moved by Councilor Monroe. Second by Councilor McFarland. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Be it resolved, the council, having reviewed the independent auditor's report, find that Councilor Martina McDonald did breach section 9.7E of the Town of Three Rivers Code of Conduct bylaw in relation to the August 11th, 2025 council meeting through a direct and lengthy response that created disorder and adverse treatment. We have a mover. Moved by Councilor Monroe.
Second.
Second by Councilor McLean. All in favor?
Aye.
In dealing with the previous code of conduct, we provide direction to staff. We continue that direction. We'll follow with the following resolution. Be it resolved, the council formally acknowledge the meeting arising from August 11th, 2025 council meeting and direct administration to continue implementing the investigators' recommendations respecting council decorum, using procedural tools, governance, training, and regular CAO public communication meetings with Mayor Johnson and Councilor McDonald required to participate in any governance meeting, chairing, de-escalating, or respectful public engagement training sessions scheduled by the CAO. We have a mover. Moved by Councilor McFarland.
Second.
Second by Councilor McLean. All in favor? Aye. With this motion passing, we now conclude our discussion on the code of conduct complaints we have received. We are still reading the results of one additional complaint. With that, a motion to adjourn. So moved, second by Councilor McFarland. Thank you.